2011. I am actually based out of Jacksonville, Florida, which is actually in Orange Park, Florida, in a little small town called Fleming Island, more high-end, upscale. So I deal with a lot of corporate clients. Most of my clients are attorneys, doctors, lawyers, or just stay-at-home mompreneurs who just run their business from home. And so they know nothing about hair, don't want to deal with their hair, and all of my clients have big, fat afros. Every last one of them. Even the mixed, biracial, curly, heavy curly hair clients, everyone has big hair, okay? And if they come to me and their hair is ruined, by the time they stay with me for about a year, their hair has grown in leaps and bounds, all right? So how many of you guys in here that are really dealing with a lot of textured hair and different manipulating, like braiding and things like that? Okay. How many salon owners do we have in here?
I just want to learn about it.
Cool beans. I mean, so now if you stand at a booth and you're paying, you running, you're branding yourself, you're still considered.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you still have your own business. But we'll talk about that later.
Right.
So I basically travel, I travel everywhere, travel with Premier to all of the shows just to basically educate and teach everyone on the things that I did not get educated on things that everyone kind of kept away from me, the hidden secrets, the hidden techniques and tricks and things that I had to learn on my own. So it's my passion to come here, and everyone always says, well, do you get paid to do these shows? I'm like, no, we do not get paid to do these shows. We're basically branding ourselves, marketing ourselves, so that we can better inform you and educate you on the things that we have on our own. So that's my passion, that's my motto. My passion is hair loss. I'm currently in school for trichology, and so basically that's just studying the skin, the scalp, and diseases and disorders of the skin and the scalp. And so once I finish that, I'll further advance into actually opening up a hair clinic. So it'll be titled Healthy Hair Clinic instead of Healthy Hair Therapy. It'll be a clinic for hair in the front, and then in the back I'll still be styling and doing hair. And so that's my ultimate goal. So that's what I'm working towards. As it relates to my expertise, I do a lot of extension services, but I also focus on the base of the hair, the overall foundation of healthy hair. I don't care what texture hair you have, as long as your hair is healthy, that's my goal. And then we go towards the styling, okay? All right, so, enough about me. I'm a mom of two, about that. Run my own business, single parent, and you can do it. So let's get into it. All right. So basically, here's the outline of what we're going to be talking about. How to wear protective styles. Protective styling right now is very big in our community. Everyone wants to cover their hair or add extensions on their hair, but no one wants to understand the overall foundation of how to keep your hair healthy when you're wearing these different units and extensions and these different clip-ins and the micro links and things like that. Now, I have clients that come to me and they use those micro links and their hair comes out in patches. And I just feel like what happens is we don't educate ourselves enough to go in and get the knowledge that we need to know before we start offering these type of services. So that's why the title of my class is Save My Edges, because people losing their edges a whole lot. Now, braiding techniques can be very severely damaging to the edges and to your overall hair, but not knowing how to properly braid is the big problem. Everyone can say, I know how to braid, but do you understand the foundation of braiding? Do you understand your positioning while you're braiding? There is a science to braiding. There's a science to doing any type of technique that you want to create inside of someone's hair. And so you have to be very educated when you're doing those type of things, all right? So first, let's talk about alopecia. I'm sure everyone is, you're aware of alopecia. Right now what's happening is that there's an epidemic where women and men, mostly women, we see it in our community, every ethnicity, I see it. When they sit in my chair, they're losing hair at the top of their head. And they don't understand why. But here's what I tell everyone when I do these classes. Are you guys doing consultations when you bring your clients in? I'm asking that question. Are you guys doing consultations? Are you charging for your consultations? No? Okay. Here's why I talk about the consultations. when you get a client in your chair and you see that they're losing hair at the top of their head, it's an automatic indication that there's some type of medical problem internally, medication, or some type of deficiency that's happening within their body. So that's nothing that we can treat from the outside. We have to treat them from the inside out, which means that you have to take from your professional standpoint, and you have to refer them out to either a dermatologist, which would be my first referral to a dermatologist, and then you need to tell them, hey, you know what, there's such thing called alopecia, but we need to determine whether you have alopecia or not. What happens is they'll give them a scalp analysis, they'll put the machine over their head, they'll probably do a biopsy on their scalp, and just to make sure that their follicles are not dead or the pores are not closed, okay? And so we're just laying down the basics of everything, because this is stuff that we don't talk about anymore. Everybody wants to make money, but they don't want to see they don't want to produce healthy hair, okay? So you send them out to the dermatologist, and I tell them, when you get to your dermatologist, and this is why I charge for my consultations, ask them this. Ask them to do a scalp analysis. Ask them to determine whether to tell you are your follicles open or closed, and to tell you whether your pores are open or closed. Two different things. Once you determine that factor, you also have to make an appointment for your physician. Once you make an appointment for your physician, you need to get a blood analysis done, because your blood analysis is going to tell me what's happening within your body. Are you deficient on your vitamin A? Are you deficient on your vitamin B, your vitamin D? Vitamin D is the #1 cause of hair loss, especially in African Americans. So I try to say that, and in women, period, honestly, we're finding it more in women. A lot of women are dealing with PCOS. So that's the reason why you're going to refer them out to their physician. Now you have to get personal with them. Are you on blood pressure medications? They're going to probably try to tell you no, but you see when they're sitting in your chair that their hair is falling out in your hands. And a protein treatment is not going to help that. That's something that's internally happening that's causing the blood circulation to stop, the flow of it to stop. So now we have to figure out what's suffocating the blood circulation. Okay? So now after you've done those two things, you're going to have your clients, now we're still on the consultation for hair loss, you're going to have your clients to come back into the salon, and then you're going to go over those results. Okay? So now we're going to determine what type of regimen we need to build for them. And this is why you're going to charge $60, basically $50, $60 for your consultation, because now you are acting as that medium for them to start the hair growth journey, and they're going to start trusting you because now you know what you're talking about. Okay? And so I bring them back into the salon. I'm like, okay, I see that you're low on your vitamin D, that they will prescribe your vitamin D, and then I also try to research organic things to help my clients. Getting them connected with the ashwagandha products, get them connected with rosemary, which stimulates the scalp. Also, some of your shampoos and your conditioners, you can start putting the rosemary and the peppermint essential oils inside of those and massaging those into their pores and getting the circulation going into the salon. It's a good idea to have a diffuser with some type of rosemary or peppermint in the salon, because now they're inhaling this internally, and so now their body is starting to react to that essential oil. There are studies, if you guys research it, there are studies that have proven that scientists have taken hair from I believe they had, they do the rat, the mouse, and the testing, and so they put rosemary on one and peppermint oil on the other. Now they shaved them completely bald. Good morning. And once they had done that, they realized that the peppermint oil that they infused onto one of them actually grew the hair out quicker. So what happens is we have to get away from trying to go here and there and buy all these different products and get back to the basics. Okay? So a lot of these different braiding techniques and methods that are coming out, extension services that are coming out, they're cute. Money just from braiding your hair. I want to make my money knowing that you understand the value of who I am. So when I do start going up 20, 30, 40% on my prices, you don't have a problem with me, because you know that I have exceeded your expectations and I've caused your hair to grow in leaps and bounds. Okay? How many of you have heard of diffuse alopecia? Okay? That shocked me too. Let me say this, and then I'll bring the young lady up so I can show you the different braiding pattern. Diffuse alopecia is a condition characterized by the hair loss over the entire scalp, including the sides. Okay, so we're talking about the edges. Good morning. And the back of the head. Anything that disrupts the normal cycle can trigger hair loss. Okay? So, we're talking about the density of the hair follicles, or anything that's constricting it and not allowing the right minerals. Now, we just talked about the essential oils and things like that getting into the scalp, okay? Very important. And like I said, you don't have to go out and spend $30, $40, $50 on products that are launching out and saying, hey, you know what, this is a hair growth oil. Let me just clear this up really quick. There's no oil that can promote hair growth. There's a stimulating oil, and you can make that yourself. I am not here to shut people down from making money, but I'm telling you, if you guys take the ability and take it into your own hands, go get you some bottles from S&K or K&S or what's the other bottling company? Just find a bottling company. This is how they're making these products, y'all. Build your brand behind the chair. You start building the regimens for your clients, okay? So they don't have to go out and spend $50 to go online and get something that they saw online. Get you some essential oil. I'm gonna give you a basic formulation. You can start from there. Stimulating oil, okay? And I know it works because I sell it to my clients, all right? It's free of charge. Essential oil. You're gonna have your rosemary, your clary sage, your peppermint. You're also going to have your lemongrass. Now you want to watch your percentages when you're doing these type of essential oils. So you may want to go purchase you a scale. And this is completely off of my subject, but I feel like I need to do this because no one's telling you guys the secrets. They're making you pay $500 to get into a laboratory to figure out how to make your own products. You can build your own brand. Okay? I know because I'm doing it every single day. All right, so those are your essential oils. Your carrier oils, you have to have a carrier oil with your essential oil if your client is dealing with hair loss. Your jojoba oil. I stray away from coconut oil because although coconut oil is a natural hydrating conditioner to the hair, it still puts a buildup on the hair. But coconut oil is really good for the skin as it relates to eczema and psoriasis and things like that, okay? Jojoba oil, grapeseed oil, which is a natural heat protectant to the hair.
I use tea tree. Is that a good one?
Yes, tea tree is good. Tea tree is a natural preservative. Tea tree is a natural preservative. Thank you so much. Tea tree oil, that's the essential oil. So then you have your avocado oil, black seed oil, and castor oil.
That's it.
Your glycerin. I know it's formulations by heart. I stand up in the salon and just kind of whip up something really quick. And then also I utilize the moringa oil. Moringa, M-O-R-I-N-G-A, I believe, moringa oil.
Or do you make some equal portions?
Okay, so in sunflower oil.
I like
I'm
that.
going back to you. So how I create the formulation, I basically do maybe 5 drops of my rosemary, 5 drops, but I do them in percentages. So I may have like 1.5% of this, 1.5% of my next, oil. So it just depends on what it's looking like on your scale. Now, that's not a formulation. This is an ingredient list I just gave you. Your formulations, when you start breaking it down into percentages. And you can go online, and I have a list of people that I can email you guys on how to go and create your own shampoo, conditioner, oils, whatever it is that you want to create. If I'm standing in the salon, I will do equal portions with my carrier oils, and then with my essential oils, I probably won't do equal portions of that, just depending on how much more I would need of one. Like if they're dealing with severe hair loss, peppermint oil, I would increase my percentage in that. If you have a client who just I'm gonna tell you a story. I just had a client who came in the salon And when I touched her hair was coming out of my hands. I gave her a protein treatment. How many of you guys remember the this old throwback? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Afro-G protein treatment. Stuck her under the dryer, let it get hard. Put her back in my chair. Her hair was still dry and falling out. She did not tell me that she was anemic. So that's something that your oils is not going to help, right? So that's the reason why I say you're going to charge this money for your consultations, because now you put yourself in a dermatology position to come at her from an angle as a physician and a dermatologist, and now they're looking at you like, okay, well, I guess you are worth this $60, okay? And I'm serious. I talked yesterday, you were in my class yesterday, and I keep feeling like I have to keep talking about this type of stuff because we come to these shows and we want to learn more, but what's happening is people stand up here and tell you what they want you to know because they don't want to give away their secrets. But I'm not going to gain or lose anything because what's for me is for me. So you can't take nothing from me and run with it. If anything, I want to see the vision get up because obviously I got the download, but I didn't have the money to create it. Okay? So if you guys are looking to build your own hair products, your own brand, you need a laboratory, you can email me, and I'll make sure I send some emails out to you guys because I have your emails and phone numbers so we can stay connected as it relates to that. You know, I said next year I'm gonna teach business classes because we were coming in here and we're investing our time, but we're not learning what we really need to know on how to make money and how to really retain clients behind the chair, okay? So, diffuse alopecia. Back to the young lady. Hair coming out. All of a sudden, she wakes up, hair coming out. Now, we know she's anemic, but now I have to put a label on what's happening with her. The diffuse alopecia is a sudden cause of hair loss. So you ever had a client that come in, they're like, oh my God, I have a patch, I don't even know what happened. Like, you didn't cut their hair out, the extensions didn't take it out, the color didn't take it out, the keratin didn't take it out. What happened? Sudden alopecia. And if you look it up, there are cases where people wake up with bald spots. So that's what's happening with a lot of women on their edges. A lot of times, the braid services are not taking it out in men, but it's sudden hair loss. So now we have to figure out how to treat that. That's when your oils come into place because now you're going to take those oils. You know, Miss Cindy, here's a bottle of oil. You're going to put your price on it, put your worth on it, count up your cost. Whatever it took for you to buy all those ingredients and whatever else you want to get creative with doing, count up your cost of your bottles, count up the cost of your oils, and then count up the cost of your label, making your own labels, and then count up the cost of your time. And you have to believe in your product. And I'm the first partaker of anything that I do. But if you look on my Instagram page, all of my clients, I try to do their natural hair before I style it up because you guys can see that their hair is growing and I am using my own products. And I'm detangling their hair with just water and oil. And that's the oils that I'm mixing up. Now if their hair can't take oil, I'm just using some type of base conditioner or leave-in conditioner to detangle their hair, but nothing really heavy. But I'm still adding my essential oils in there. Okay? And if you need to know the location where to get your, there's a place called Essential Wholesale. You can get your own base conditioner, your own base shampoos, and you can start making your own base formulations from there.
What is your opinion on the Oars castor oil shampoos and the leave-ins?
The castor oil shampoos and leave-ins?
It's the ORS. I get it at Cosmo Pro and Sally's.
Okay. I think it's beneficial.
Okay.
I think you just have to be careful with how you're utilizing some of the stuff because here's the thing, they give you the ingredients on the bottle, but they still not giving you their formulation, so you don't really know what's in there. But if you're standing at home and you're mixing this stuff up.
I work at a nursing home, and so I see these clients once a week, and I'm one of the only ones that she will actually let touch her hair. Like, she almost took a nurse down because she touched her hair. Your hair's so soft, and she's like, you know, but she's starting to lose her edges. And then one of the other ladies, she wears a wig, but she wants me to do braids, but she's lost, like, she's got 5 hairs. Like, I mean, like bad. So
I'm glad you asked that question. I'm glad you're talking about that because that's going to lead into our next phase of everything. When you're dealing with the client that comes in a salon and they already have the thinning hair, I take 5-10 minutes out of my time to sit back. Okay, how long has this been happening? We know age is probably a factor. And then we have to look at genetics.
And medicines.
And medicine, right? But
Those are
once
big.
we have ruled all of that out, we have to determine, is this really gonna be beneficial for you? For me personally, this is a unit that I have on today because I wanna do different things with my hair, so I just get tired of dealing with my texture. But I wear it every now and then, I wear it out, but that's like big hair, you know? But I don't pull my hair really tight on my edges because my hair texture cannot take that. There are textures of hair that will remove the hair out of your head because the hair is too damaging, it's cheap hair. You know,
Everything's
sometimes the braiding hair that we're utilizing is not, you know, a good grade of hair. These people trying to make money, you know, and so they're just putting any fiber together and saying it's a connectaline fiber. You don't really know what it is, and so you have to take the extra step to treat that hair. But I'll tell you about that before. Let me answer your question. I would not recommend you do a braiding service for her. I would recommend you do some type of flat twisting or something, but nothing with a lot of tension, because what happens is we keep pulling and pulling and pulling. You're just going to cause it to keep receding.
Okay. I saw her daughter, and her daughter's got the same issue going on, and she's probably in her 50s.
There's a difference between genetic and my mama. Mama pulled my hair tight, so I have to pull my hair tight. We actually create these issues in our children from the time we start doing their hair. Okay, so this isn't something that's happening overnight. This is a thing that started progressing over time. Pulling the hair out, putting the too tight ponytails into the hair. If you have people that you're using at salons and you're using these elastic bands, take the time to take all of your rubber bands and soak them in olive oil. Okay? Soak your bands in olive oil, because what's going to happen is that oil is going to help to keep the latex or the plastic from stripping and breaking their hair off. Okay? And so also, instead of utilizing the elastic bands, try to take time to utilize a piece of yarn or something like that to kind of wrap into their hair just to hold their hair up. Anytime I'm doing updos, I don't even use rubber bands, I just use thread. Just to hold it up. And I use a little thin piece of thread. Alright, so, sorry, I probably lost y'all with the diffuse alopecia. Let me go back to that really quick because I want to. That's a sudden cause of hair loss for everyone who just came in, diffuse alopecia. So, most people who are dealing with hair loss, inflammation around the follicles is basically what it is. So when your client is giving that $60 consultation, well, what is hair loss? It's inflammation around the follicles. That's basically what it is. Your follicles are inflamed, it's inflammation, and we need to figure out what's happening, what's causing it. So I always tell my clients, if we treat it, we can beat it. I am tired of walking into stores and places and seeing people have their hair pulled up and they don't have any edges. And you're still applying a relaxer. You're still going to get these weaves and things applied into your hair. And there is a way to have healthy hair and still wear all these extension services, okay? You can't tell me it's not. I know it is. Vitamin D, #1 cause of hair loss. So when you get with your clients, make sure you're talking to them about their vitamin D levels, young and old. I'm telling you, I see it as young as 18, 16, 15. I have clients that sit in there. I don't do children services anymore because I just feel like the parents don't want to invest in their children as much as they invest in themselves. But they want you to do all these different hairstyles that they see on Instagram, pulling all their follicles out of their scalp. Because when you see that white bulb come out of their scalp, that's it. Traction alopecia, it may come back, but if it doesn't come back, now that's scarring alopecia. But they don't want to hear that. So I stay away from that. Making sure that you guys you understand the layers of the scalp. So when you're talking to your clients, you have to talk to them from that professional medical standpoint. Because now you're going to go back and add value onto your services. And there's a couple of you who need to start going back to the drawing board and revisiting your service prices. Because when you leave shows like this, you should always increase your prices. There's no excuse. 20%, 10%. You should always increase your prices because now you've increased your knowledge. You cannot go back the way that you left, okay? And your clients have to respect you for that. So, diffuse alopecia, just make sure that you guys are paying attention to that, and so that you can give your clients that theory behind that, and they can understand what's really happening with their hair. Okay? Extensions, braiding hair. A lot of braiding hair that we're using is dry, and you're just taking it out the pack. How many of you guys are taking it out the pack and just using it on your clients? It's okay, you can raise your hand. I'm not gonna blast you out. Stop. Take time to buy your hair for the week. I know sometimes it's hard. Get you a bucket, set aside. Some of the hair is already coming pre-stretched and pre-cleaned, and taking most of the chemicals out of the hair that they're putting into the hair. But take time to take that hair, put it back inside of a bucket of water, and drop you some moisturizer into that bucket. Because now you're softening up the texture of the hair. Giving it time to dry, and I'm telling you, you'll see a big difference in your hair. Conditioning that hair. Because if you're conditioning and oiling that hair, then it's gonna start making it easier to apply to your client's hair.
Under units, because I have this thing about right now, I'm trying to use it at all. But under units, say if it's kind of hard to, like on the sides, they have short hair, whatever, it's kind of hard to bring that braid all the way down. You want to use braid hair. Is it better to just try not to use it at all, or just add it?
Okay, so if I'm doing a sew-in, and that's a good question. If I'm doing a sew-in, and I apologize to you guys that I don't have a model. My model had to stay back with my kids because they decided they were just going to bomb rush my trip. And so she stayed back. I paid someone yesterday, but the young lady, she's in college, she couldn't do it today, so I asked the young lady here to help me out. So I'm gonna answer your question, and I'll get into a braiding technique for you guys. I use the feed-in method for my sew-ins. I never start my sew-ins off at the base with braids, with extensions. I start feeding that hair in, because by the time you get down here, you have that hair fed into that braid so that you can start connecting it. If you don't have the ability to connect it, then you're gonna have to start being creative and making your own pattern on braiding and connecting hair and utilizing the crochet method. If I have a client that comes in and she doesn't have any hair up here, I never use nets. I take braiding hair and create a net. And so you're gonna have to find that weaving. It's almost like this, you know, how you do that weaving technique. So I'm just taking hair and utilizing that technique. Does that make sense to you? So feed the hair in once it gets in. If you see it starts getting short, start feeding your braiding hair into that shorter piece, and then you can start creating the length that you need to go to the next braid. That makes sense? Okay. And also utilizing your oil that you're going to create for your clients to saturate their hair before you put your extensions in. But I know a lot of times that oil can be heavy for the extensions, so just try to use something a little bit lighter, like the Design Essentials is Silk Essentials oil. I don't know if everyone has ever heard of their company, but this is for relaxed or natural hair. It's actually for any hair pattern, because I even use this after my color on a lot of my blondes and things like that. I use this as well. It's very light, and I just use this in water to detangle, to be honest with you, and it's not really oily. It's just a serum. So if you don't want to utilize that, this has caused my client's hair to grow in leaps and bounds as well. It's a silk amino acid. This is a key ingredient that we need in most of our products. So I actually take some of this stuff and drop it in my oil. Just have to be utilizing that technique. That would be great. I think I have a touch of ADHD because I be losing what I be talking about. I'm so serious, y'all. You better tell my son about that. You can come on up, sweetie. What's your name? Brandy. Okay. So I'll come down so you guys can see. So I asked Brandy to let me plan her hair for you. 10:30. Okay, so here's where I'm at with everything. So here's where I'm at with everything. If there's something that you really want to know that you don't understand, there's a technique that you want to know, braiding, so have you, you're more than welcome to ask that. I don't have a problem with that. But my biggest thing was just making sure that you guys understand your work and how to make money. Now, how many of you guys are actually selling your own products in the salon? You make your own products? Okay. What do you have in your mind, your product line? A moisture butter? Okay. How long have you been creating this? You don't mind? I'm gonna mess it up. All right. So, can anyone tell me the texture of her hair just by looking at it? 4C, 4A. Okay.
There's two.
Y'all about right. I would honestly say just taking and looking at her hair, and this is still talking. I'm still talking consultation here. I'm gonna be all up in your hair, okay?
I'm fine.
Okay. So I'm looking at how her hair grows from the scalp in the wave pattern. So I will say that she has a mixture of 4B and 4C hair. Once you wet her hair, you'll probably see that she has some textures of 4A in her hair as well. So you can have 3 different textures on your head at one time.
I'm gonna ask a dumb question. What is 4A, 4B,
Okay, yeah,
all
no,
that?
it's not a dumb question. No question is a dumb question because we come here to learn, and I'm telling you, we leave out and not understand things. So you can ask whatever you want to ask. I don't get offended by anything. There's a texture chart if you want to look it up. There's a universal texture chart that we go by. It's very popular in the texture community because what's happening is we're now wanting to rate and determine what type of curl pattern we have, and then we look at the products that we're using to see if those products are going to be compatible for our hair texture.
Okay.
And then the texture chart tells you how the curls grow from your scalp, coming out of your scalp. If it's a zigzag, if it's curly, if it's straight. So like for you, do you have naturally curly hair?
I have
Does your
wavy hair.
You have wavy hair. So your hair will probably be like a 2A, 2B.
Okay.
You know, so when you look at that chart, you'll be able to look at your client and determine that and talk to them from that perspective.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I've also got a great nephew that's biracial and a great niece that's biracial, and she's got part of her mom's hair and part of her dad's hair, and so his hair is really tight curls. So part of hers is tight curls and part of it's straight.
Okay.
And then I've got clients that's the same way. That's half Hawaiian, and her dad's African American, and hers is that way too.
Okay.
And so trying
Yeah,
to just
so-
break down what to do and what to use on their hair.
Yeah, when you're dealing with those type of textures, okay, you want to make sure that you're sticking with a lot of creamy products that has an oil base and not water soluble, because for them the water will dry up their curls, and their hair probably stays really dry because the moisture gets lost in the curl pattern.
Okay.
So dealing with a lot of creamy products. So the Main Choice has really good moisturizing products for the hair. Main Choice is really good. I actually use a product, Sexy Hair is actually on the floor. I use their texture line as well.
Main
Sexy
Choice
Hair.
and Sexy
And if you
Hair.
want to blow out your clients, Sexy Hair, the purple label from Sexy Hair is excellent to do. It's Sexy Hair. It's called the Smooth and Seal line. That's actually what I use on my clients to do a blowout, and everything I do starts at the shampoo bowl. So I don't really utilize a lot of products when I'm dealing with their hair.
Yes, and Design Essentials on the floor as well.
They're out there?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, good. Go check out Design Essentials. I use their whole
Design
product
Essentials.
line.
Yeah, it's
Texture chart.
What is your
Right
email address? Because you said email you.
Okay, yes ma'am. My email address is book, B-O-O-K, Temia, T-E-M-I-A, Lofton, L-O-F-T-O-N, @gmail.com. All right, so when I'm going to show you guys a technique that I utilize for my two-strand twists to make them fuller. Say for instance, you have a client who's thinning right here at the top, and they're also thinning on the edges. And I'm utilizing the same technique in the same position if I'm doing their natural hair and also if I'm doing extensions. So what I do is your positioning is very important. And this is how I build my volume. You have it. So I am not using square partings. I'm just taking their hair and pulling it. And it's probably gonna create a square. I'm gonna stand in front of them. I'm sorry, I know you probably can't see it. And I'm doing all my twists just like this in the front. If you can't see, you can come up, I don't mind. But And you always twist to the right.
But you're not sending the pieces individually, right? Or are you?
I am.
Okay.
I'm gonna do another one. Okay, so I'm still building. I'm just taking and I'm pulling and I'm building. Because now I'm gonna start putting these twists and stacking them on top of each other. So if you go on my Instagram page, you see a lot of my 2-strand twists and people are trying to figure out. Everyone, when I do my twists, everyone knows my work because they can tell from the way that my hair is laying. There's no gaps in the twist unless the hair is super thin. So now I'm just gonna start creating all of my volume. See, now you see how this twist is laying in between this one?
Yeah.
Okay? You start stacking your twists and building a brick lay.
Oh,
So
okay.
twisting
That
from
makes
the
sense.
front like
Yeah.
Yes.
it's gonna not create that like square look.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you start charging more for your extension services when you're doing it like this. So, and I'm just gonna keep going. And then when I'm finished and I've 2-strand twisted all of this, everything is gonna move forward. So now your client has, now say for instance, if her edges were really thin on this side, now I could take her hair and swing it to that side and build all that volume and everything is gonna go this way to cover that side, okay? If you have a client who has thinning edges on both sides and they want 2-strand twists, you're gonna stand in front of their hair or braids or how, I wanna do braids on the hair. You'll stand and hold your head down. I stop about back, so I get to back here. And that way, if you've already trimmed their hair, it's starting to fall in layers. So it's gonna cover everything. So your positioning, I know we wanna stand like this, but her hair doesn't grow that way, right? So you position your hair the way that the hair grows. Sometimes you have to go against that and go against the growth pattern to build the volume. But if you stand in front of all your work when you're doing your twists and you're working in the front of your clients, I'm telling you, you'll see a big difference in your hairstyles, okay? So that's twisting. Did you see that one?
Yes, I did. That was beautiful.
Yeah, so like for her hair, if I was doing curls and I was crocheting it in, I do my braid patterns totally different for crochet hairstyles. This is actually a crochet unit, but I take my parting, I don't go straight back. I kind of slant my parts to where I want to build my volume at. So that way I'm not just, you see the standard braid patterns where they just braiding the hair and then, circling it in the back. I braid it slanted this way, and in the back, I'm braiding straight up. I don't do one braid across the back of the hair. Because 1, that causes breakage. 2, that causes a buildup. And then 3, they can't ever wear their hair up. Okay? I braid my sides up. I braid everything up, and then the middle is a circle. Okay? And now I'm creating, for my clients who have thinning hair in the middle, I'm creating that weave pattern in the top with the hair that I've inserted throughout their hair. Use a strand of extension off their hair, really. So I had a client and I had to stop braiding her hair too tight. I didn't know how to. And I had to learn, so I really had to, pray over my hands. I was like, okay, I just gotta figure this out because I can't keep losing clients. And this is when I first started out doing hair. But I figured it out, I mastered it. And anyone that comes to me will tell you that when they leave the salon, their hair is never tight. And I do faux locks, I do crochet braids, I do all type of extension services. 2-strand twists, the twists are my #1 service, so I charge anywhere from $3 to $4.50 for those. Not just with natural hair though.
Yeah, we're like, what?
No. Not with, that's why I said not with just natural hair. Yeah, 2-strand twists with extensions. Because here's what happens. That's why I say when y'all leave these classes like this, you guys should start increasing your value and increasing your, your prices, because there, you came, you took the trip, you invested in yourself to learn more about different techniques and things like that. So you should go home and utilize that to your advantage. Not price gouging, but just taking the time to review your prices. And I'm saying, I just feel that so strongly that some people are just not charging what they're worth.
So like a 2 strand on your natural hair, how much do you charge?
2 strand on my natural hair, I start at $85. Actually, no, it's $95 now. Who was in here for my $95 price yesterday? But yes, a hair like hers, I charge $95. That does include, it's a full service salon, so it does include a shampoo. And I don't say shampoo, I just say treatments. But what is a treatment? Can I just shampoo my own hair? No, ma'am, because you're not treating your hair. I'm treating your hair. Well, what do? It starts at the shampoo bowl. I start all of my shampoos off with Paul Mitchell Tea Tree shampoo to detox or clarify the hair, because I don't know what's in your hair when you get to me. I don't know what type of medications you're taking, so I need to be able to strip all that out of your hair. Or I'll start them off with a steam treatment and then go into the clarification process. Okay? How many of you guys own steamers? Paul Mitchell Tea Tree. If you don't own a steamer, invest in a steamer. That's going to add up. I'm telling you, I'm talking money. I'm telling you, you don't charge what we're worth. If you don't have a steamer, and I'm still taking my gel and utilizing it. If you don't have a steamer, invest in one, please. It's good for color, but it's also good for those who are dealing with hair loss issues. In that steamer, you can infuse your essential oils in there, and then they're also inhaling. Just make sure they don't have any allergies or anything like that. Asthma. Nobody about to fall out on you. But utilize the steamers in your salon, because now you're going to add value to your services. Steamer investment is like $99 on Amazon. Get you one. All right. So I start my shampoos off with tea tree, Paul Mitchell Tea Tree. It stimulates the scalp. Has peppermint, eucalyptus, and rosemary in it, which was the 3 things I told you guys about stimulating. Anytime your client get in your chair, they should feel refreshed. Tea tree does that. I end it with the Design Essentials Stimulating Conditioner, because it's still stimulating their scalp.
The
Rosemary one. And I also end it with the massage for 15 minutes. But that's including, the whole time I'm actually manipulating that scalp to increase hair growth. If you guys are dealing with clients who are coming in your salon and they just want to style and they just want to get up and leave, you can't let them handle you like that. Especially if you're going to go back and you're going to increase your prices. Start utilizing massaging techniques. Take classes on massaging. That's going to increase your price. That's another $25 on top of your shampoos. Okay? So start operating like where you want to be at, so people can respect you when you're coming into your place of business. Okay? How many new hairstylists we have in there? Like, you just styling under a year? Just, are you in your own business, or are you just doing full spread? Okay. That's what's up. There's nothing wrong with that. You gotta start somewhere. So, start increasing yourself now. Are you okay? Mm-hmm. So start increasing your value now. Now, detangling natural hair or textured hair. How many of you guys are having issues with detangling hair? That's like, I literally just ran through that, but that's just because I know hair. You can look at it and determine where the hair is going and detangle with your fingers. I just detangle with water. I coiled my model's hair yesterday with water. I don't use all those products. But when you're detangling, start from the nape of the neck and start building your foundation to detangling up. The only thing I use to detangle is water and that Design Essentials of amino acids. That's it. For real. If you go on my Instagram page, there's a young lady, I just did her hair for a homecoming dance. She has big hair. And I detangled her in under 20 minutes with just water and the silk amino acid in a comb. I don't use detangling brushes on tiki hair because it rips the hair out of the scalp. I don't care what Denman is telling y'all. I don't care how they're giving it to you. I don't care what type of, promotion they're doing for it. It is not healthy for the hair unless that curl pattern is conducive for that particular tool. Okay? So I'm still starting with my braids. Are they tight? Okay. When you're dealing with a client's edges and you're braiding, stop braiding your pattern straight back, because you're pulling their hair out. Now, some styles you probably have to do it straight back, but if you're gonna add extensions, try not to add extensions until you get about three processes back. So by the time I braid, I cross the hair over about 3 or 4 times, that's when I start adding my hair in. Stop adding your knots on the hair, on the edges of the scalp, because you're pulling their hair out. It's too much tension. Too much tension will cause traction alopecia. And sometimes people's hair do not grow back. Okay? You don't have to pull the hair so tight where they look Chinese. That stuff that, grandmama now did. That's what they did. But because they did that, that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to do it. We have to begin to figure out what works best right here. Here's a new epidemic that's happening with these edges and the edge brushes. Please be careful. Everyone's hair cannot take those edge brushes. Just because you want baby hairs and you want your hair to look fine, that little fine tooth comb on the end of that brush, and that brush, let me tell you something, these people making money. They don't care about you pulling your hair out. You put in that thick gel on your hands, and now you're taking that and swooping it into their hair. Now just imagine you're doing that consistently 5 days a week. Every day you're redoing your edges. Can you imagine the type of tension and things that are happening with that? So we have to be able to determine what's going to be a healthy technique for that client, and if their hair can take it. Okay? Now, if you're going to do a braid, just make sure that the hair is fully hydrated before you start doing your braids. When I say hydrated, I mean a cream. Some type of cream that you have put into the hair to make sure that you have allowed moisture to get into that hair. Because if not, you're going to be dealing with some issues. Okay? Now, I haven't put anything into her hair. I just asked her, could I use her for a model? But, most people, when they see stuff like this, they like, oh, I don't know what to do. I need to detangle it. You can take your fingers at the shampoo bowl. By the time my clients come out of the shampoo bowl, they're already detangled. I barely have to use a comb or a brush, depending on their curl pattern. So, everything starts and ends at the shampoo bowl, specifically.
What do you do when they're extremely fine, or, okay, so they have a little hair right here, but then it's just bald before it gets into their rest of their hair? Like, what a braid pattern.
Okay, so it's like I call it, they basically have the skipped hair. So they have hair here, and then right here, they have no hair.
Right.
And then back here, they have hair. Okay? Now, what service are you going to try to do?
Well, I'm asking for a crochet braid now, because I got this part, but it's just the temple area.
The temple area? Okay. So for that, what I would utilize is some type of connecting technique. If they have enough hair right here to, honestly, I probably wouldn't do it on them.
Okay.
But if they really, really want it, create a crochet unit. Create a wig. And then take that, braid their hair down, and sew that unit onto their hair.
What other?
That's more money.
What is that?
That's more money.
It is. I'm just trying to figure out what to do for her, because she doesn't have the length period.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're trying to figure out what to do with her hair just overall.
Right.
So she
You
can
can,
two strand twisted. We
So-
can braid it down, but she has just enough to braid it.
okay, braid it down as much as you can, create the unit, and then wherever you see the spaces at, after you've sewn that unit around, go back under there and start crocheting more hair onto whatever that perimeter braid is that you have, so that way you can cause that hair to start falling over it. but I would not crochet the hair into her hair.
Oh no, I actually what I did was I left it. I didn't even I did like a soft braid with no weave, and then put it. Actually, she got a sew in, and I just left it alone. So
Okay.
if she lifts it up, you see. Just
She don't need a sew in.
Well, no, she.
That's what's causing it.
What's
It-
that?
That
She's
sew in.
new. So
Yeah, that thread, you gotta get her out of that thread, for a full sew in. Start creating her units, making it on a light mesh cap, and putting that one perimeter stitch braid. You know how to do the one perimeter braid for the units? That's all she needs. Bring her back every 2 to 3 weeks, because you have to monitor that. I'm telling you, it'll work. I have one that I'm doing like that right now. She don't have any hair. She's younger, about 36 years old. Hair came out from a relaxer and glue ends. She don't have any hair from here back, and then probably about this much on the nape of her neck. And I just create units for her. But the units are on her hair so light she can't even tell this on here. Okay? Now, am I making sense?
It does. We talked about that. So let's say she's getting made.
Okay.
I was just signing with her.
Yes.
With her, and make sure I was just going about it the right way. So I was just
Yeah, so just keep creating units for her and just giving her different, flexibility with her hair, so that way she doesn't feel like she's bored with her hair, and you're also giving her the ability to feel like she has. Doing hair is psychological. We're their psychologists, literally. So you have to psychologically make her feel that there's hope for her, because right now she's probably feeling like our hair's not gonna grow back. And I always say our hair is like a tree. If you water it, it'll grow. It's like a plant. You water it, it'll grow. If you talk to plants, they grow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm standing over my clients, I don't have a bad attitude. If I know I have a bad day, I gotta get that thing right before I touch the crown of their head. Because now what I'm doing is inserting everything that's in me into them, and now I'm just causing more things to happen. And not only that, I begin to open up myself for all that stuff that they have on them, and I can't purify my area. So you just have to make sure your spirit is right and everything about you is right and lined up with your people before you get into there. I'm telling you, I have people that'll walk through the door, and I'll see what's on them, and I'll determine whether they're gonna stay with me or not. I know immediately. And they don't stay. And I'm fine with that, So you just have to make sure you understand what you're working with and who you're dealing with, and not really being afraid to take authority over your environment. Okay? Sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
That part.
Why don't you use the hairnet?
Say it one more time.
Why don't you use?
I don't use hair nets a lot. I use it just depending on what I'm doing. But I would not use a hair net because number one, they can't get to their scalp. Okay? Number two, if I bring them back to do a follow-up, I can determine what's happening under there. The net is actually pulling moisture from the hair as well.
Even the infused one, even if I soak it myself?
Depending on how heavy the net is. Now, there's some that feel like wire. I won't use those at all.
Right.
But if you're using the cotton ones, I don't even think it's cotton. I don't know what material that is. It's like a spandex one.
Yeah, I think it's mixed with
Yeah,
nylon.
I wouldn't keep them in it a long time. I just personally have a problem with them.
Because even my clients with sewing, they come back every 2 or 3 weeks for me to shampoo their hair
With sewing.
with the sewing. Yes. And now, the openings in the net, I don't use a tiny one. I usually use one to, apply an oil, their scalp, something like that, and be able to massage their scalp. 'Cause
Yes, ma'am.
they'll come in, I'm itching, and, do that shampoo with the Sign Essential Peppermint Aloe, and they feel much better.
Now, if that's working for you and you see growth in their hair,
Yes.
then I don't have a problem with that. I mean, for me, it just doesn't work for my clientele base because they the ones who've been coming to me from the beginning, if I put a net in their head, they know I'm trying to take a shortcut. I mean, and they know it. They'll be like, hey, what's going on with you today? You know, so if I do something outside of my normal regimen, they'll know that something's going on. Because I've educated my clients to a point where they can go home and take care of their own hair.
So when you do that braid,
Some who don't have the allergy